you need is a basic chocolate cake. You can buy it ready-made from the supermarket or even pre-bake it yourself. We're going to fill it with buttercream chocolate flavoured icing. Then we're going to layer it a few times and cover the entire cake with our buttercream icing. We can use a nice piece of plastic to smooth it down along the sides and on the top. Now we're going to melt some dark chocolate buttons and we're going to pour that onto, yes, you saw right, it's bubble wrap. A fantastic and creative way of making a really cool pattern that has been cut to size to fit around the outside of our cake. So once that's set, we wrap it all the way around. And then it's time to carefully peel away the bubble wrap. And we're left with a beautiful, bubbly pattern on our chocolate. Some juicy strawberries, a sprinkling of blueberries, and some cherries, maybe even a few raspberries as well. We're going to fill the top of our cake with beautiful colours and some mint leaves for a touch of green. Look at that. Absolutely delicious. And it's a work of art. And it really was that easy. Cake, buttercream, bubble wrap, and berries. Super simple. Choco-berrylicious. All you need is a glass bowl with 320 grams of condensed milk. Stick that in the microwave for 30 seconds. We're going to add 80 grams of cocoa powder to that, sprinkling it in through a sieve so that we get a nice smooth mixture once it's all stirred together. Now this is going to be poured into a container which is coated in cling film. It's very important that with our two ingredients we choose the best quality ingredients. This will make a huge difference to the flavour. Now once that's all in, we're going to stick that in the refrigerator for 1 hour. Meanwhile, get our glass bowl, add 200 grams of condensed milk this time, stick it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and 100 grams of cocoa powder is going into this one. So we can play around with the consistency of our truffles if we want it to be slightly gooey in the middle or we want it to be a bit firmer. We're going to add this in gradually, a bit at a time. This mixture is going to be a lot thicker than the last one, so no need to refrigerate this one. I'm going to stir that in until it's a sort of dough-like consistency. You can, of course, use a big sieve. Now once this is mixed together, we're going to put it on some cling film, which has been laid out on a chopping board. We're going to fold that over and squish it down. Put that aside and sprinkle some more cocoa powder onto our chopping board. Out comes our ganache. We're going to stick that onto the cocoa powder and then sprinkle some more over the top. Cocoa powder is our best friend in this recipe, so we're going to slice that into pieces. And now it's time to roll it up into little balls. We recommend wearing food preparation gloves for this part of the recipe, as it can get rather messy. Now why not coat that with some more cocoa powder, making sure it's completely covered before we put it on our serving plate. Absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to coat our chopping board in another layer of cocoa powder and remove our previous ganache from the refrigerator. Easy to peel off the cling film a bit at a time whilst adding a sprinkle of cocoa powder on top. We can be generous with this. Now we're going to slice this into squares. Pick them up one by one and then just squish the sides, making sure it's a perfect square shape, and coat that in cocoa powder, ready for our serving plate. Now you can just use cocoa powder, or you can try different things. You can try sprinkles, hundreds and thousands, even chocolate shavings for an absolutely beautiful and simple dessert. Look at that. All you need is an ice cube tray and some sticks. Put one in each tray, add water, and then freeze. Once frozen, we're going to dip each of these in melted chocolate. And when the chocolate is set, we're going to remove the ice cube. Now, time to make our filling. 200 millilitres of whipping cream, add that to a bowl and whisk away till thickened. Now to that we're going to add 100 grams of icing sugar and mix that in. Next we're going to add 250 grams of mascarpone cheese and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract to give it a lovely flavour. And then we have our cream cheese filling. Stir that together nicely. Now, we're going to add a little bit of a ladyfinger and some espresso coffee on top of that and squirt our cream cheese filling on top of that, a sprinkle of cocoa powder, a coffee bean and a sprig of mint and a chocolate bar. And there you have it. Next we're going to add green tea spread 80 grams, 100 millilitres of almond milk to a bowl, mix them together nicely, add 150 millilitres of whipping cream to that, whisk till thickened. Using a patterned nozzle, we're going to squirt that into our chocolate bowl, add pistachios and a marshmallow. Super easy, right? Third filling, 100 grams of strawberry jam, 80 grams of cream cheese, whisk away. Add some fresh cut up strawberries and squirt our cream on top of that. Maybe grate some chocolate and a fresh strawberry to finish. 3 super easy variations of chocolate ice cube cups. All you need is 120 grams of dark chocolate cut into pieces. Melt that slightly in a bowl and add 50 millilitres of heavy cream. Mix that together and we have our chocolate ganache. Put that aside. Now we add 200 grams of cream cheese to a mixing bowl with 15 grams of sugar, 30 millilitres of milk. Whisk that away. We gradually add ingredients and give it a mix each time. Now we're going to add half a tablespoon of lemon juice and 5 grams of melted gelatin. Give it another mix, making sure it's a smooth-like consistency, and then add 120 millilitres of heavy cream and mix once again. Perfect. Now we have our main cream cheese mixture. And for the first layer, we're going to add 185 grams of cream cheese batter. We're going to pour that straight into our baking tin, which has been coated in baking paper to make sure that the cheesecake doesn't stick. Smooth that over, make sure to fill all the corners, and then refrigerate for 15 minutes. Now in a clean bowl, we're going to add 130 grams of the cream cheese batter with 60 grams of chocolate ganache. Stir it until it becomes a light brown colour. This is going to make our second layer. So we're going to pour this on top of our white cheese layer and smooth it out so it's nice and even. Then we're going to put it back in the fridge for another 15 minutes. In a clean bowl, get 115 grams of cream cheese batter and 100 grams of chocolate ganache. Stir it together, making a dark brown colour this time. This is going to be poured on top of our already set 2-layered cheesecake and smooth it over as usual. Now we just refrigerate that for 15 minutes, and meanwhile we're going to get a pot and add 50 grams of sugar, 20 grams of cocoa powder and give it a whisk. We're going to also add 20 millilitres of water, 140 millilitres of heavy cream. Turn on the heat to a medium flame and stir away whilst it's heating on the stove. Heat it until it starts to bubble away, and then you can turn the heat off. Add 60 grams of chocolate to that mixture, 2 grams of gelatin, and whisk it away until the chocolate has melted and the gelatin is nicely mixed in. Now our cheesecake is ready. Take the baking tray away and remove the baking paper, leaving a smooth layer, and pour on our cooled chocolate ganache mixture. Now make sure you do this over a baking tray. Let the chocolate ganache mixture drip down. Now on top of that, we're going to put a thin strip of paper across the middle of the cake and sprinkle cocoa powder over the entire surface of the cake. When we've done that, we can remove our strip very carefully and add our pistachios to the middle of the cake. It's the small things that make all the difference. So if you want a professional looking and absolutely delicious triple layer chocolate cheesecake without any baking, then this is the recipe for you. Cheese and chocolate. What more could you want?